questioned Michael Cohen today, Democratic Congressman Khanna. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. We watched with a lot of attention your Q&A, your questioning of Michael Cohen. Looking at the entirety of Cohen's testimony today, do you believe President Trump has committed impeachable offenses?
Well, it certainly looks like he's committed crimes, and I agree with Gloria. The two crimes that he likely committed, one is subordinating perjury. I mean, we know that the White House lawyers were helping craft Michael Cohen's testimony. I think that was a big admission. And second, Cohen testified and had proof with a smoking gun document that Trump was involved in the payments of the Trump Organization to him. And here's what's relevant, Wolf. It happened while he's president. So this is not acts that happened during the campaign. These are crimes he may have committed as president. And we also learned that Donald Trump Jr. may be executive too. He may be currently under criminal investigation by the Southern District of New York.
As you also heard, Michael Cohen believes that Donald Trump Jr. might have told President Trump about the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting with those Russians. Was his testimony on that point, from your perspective, persuasive?
I do, and I think the reason it's persuasive is he was so careful. He didn't say that Donald Trump knew about what the content of those emails were. He could have made some sensational allegation. He said, I don't want to go that far, but I do know that Donald Trump was aware of those emails. And as Gloria pointed out, there's a perjury issue. Here's what the president has done. He's made this whole thing about collusion, but put that aside. Put Bob Mueller's report aside. He's got two other problems. He may have committed garden variety financial fraud. He may have violated campaign finance laws, and he may have committed perjury. Those are serious crimes as much as the collusion is.
Do you want your committee to bring in Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump for questioning?
I think certainly Donald Trump Jr., based on Michael Cohen's testimony, it seems pretty obvious at this point, given the admission that he's executive too, that Donald Trump Jr. is under the investigation by the Southern District of New York. And there are open questions of when that investigation is going to conclude. I think someone needs to ask the president if he's trying to pardon Donald Trump Jr. if he is convicted of a crime. And some of those crimes he may get convicted of may be state crimes, which of course you can't pardon. So I think we need to hear from Donald Trump Jr.
So based on all, you see suspicion of various crimes, 3 specific crimes committed by the President of the United States. Is it time to begin impeachment proceedings in the House of Representatives?
Well, I think this raises very serious questions. I still believe we need to finish the investigation. We have to wait for Mueller's report, and we need to see what the Southern District of New York concludes. It seems that there's a lot more in the Southern District of New York than we knew before today. I mean, Michael Cohen said he's cooperated since the earlier testimony, that there's a lot more that the Southern District of New York knows that we don't know. So I think once we have those 2 reports, then everything has to be on the table.
What about other key Trump Organization employees like Rona Graff, who was the executive assistant to the president for a long time, Alan Weisselberg, the chief financial officer at the Trump Organization? He's been there for 40 years. Do you want them to be brought before your committee?
Absolutely. And as you know, Alan Weisselberg has gotten immunity from the Southern District of New York, so he's probably cooperating and maybe implicating Donald Trump Jr., and Trump's assistant should testify. And here's the point, Wolf, that your question raises. This is not about Michael Cohen's credibility. Michael Cohen didn't just come and offer a witness account. He offered corroborating evidence. He offered documents, and he pointed to other people who could corroborate his account. The committee needs to hear from them so that we're not just relying on Michael Cohen. We actually have compelling evidence independent of Michael Cohen.
What about David Pecker, the head of AMI, the parent company of the National Enquirer? Because Cohen, as you know, indicated there were other stories the National Enquirer helped cover up. Pecker, I think, has also received limited immunity.
You know, I thought Peter Welch did a great job in getting that admission, and I didn't know about that Pecker apparently was covering up other sensational allegations about the president, and then Michael Cohen almost said that the president and he were trying to buy out Pecker's organization because they're concerned about what salacious material may be out there. And the first thing that I thought about is how susceptible is this president to blackmail? What else is out there, and what should the American people know?
Does it concern you, Congressman, that Michael Cohen provided no evidence for at least some of his claims, such as his claim that President Trump had advanced knowledge of the WikiLeaks email releases?
Well, I think he he testified that that was his knowledge. I think he said that there could be corroboration with the Trump's assistant. Roger Stone could corroborate it. Again, I think he was credible because he didn't say that Trump knew about the content, but he said Trump was aware of the release. But here's the thing. You don't have to buy 100% of Cohen's testimony and think that all parts were proven. The parts that were proven with the smoking gun document about the financial fraud and the perjury are enough to be very concerned that this president committed crimes. And even people who are supportive of the president, I mean, can they imagine that this lawyer who the Republicans are describing as a convicted felon is going into the Oval Office and the president is directing in his first year of office how he should get paid off? I mean, you couldn't dream these things up in a movie.
What did you make of the approach that we all saw by your Republican colleagues?
Well, I don't think it's effective at the end. They were trying to attack Cohen. First of all, they were saying Cohen is a liar about coming to Congress and talking about the Moscow project. Well, here's the fact. Trump has said the exact same thing that Michael Cohen has. So if you're admitting that Cohen lied, you're by implication saying that Trump has lied to the American public. But the second thing is, look, Cohen was human. When he started talking about his children, he almost broke down in tears. When he talked about his parents, he grew very emotional. I think he came off as someone who had committed crimes or made mistakes, but was there to redeem himself. And I don't think the Republican attacks were effective in light of Michael Cohen's emotional testimony.
Congressman Khanna of California, thanks so much for joining us.
Always great to be on, Wolf.